Before I get to my personal dream journey, I need to set the stage for you. The year is 1994. I'm 10 years old, and I've been plagued by vivid, strange, and recurrent nightmares. They're the kind of nightmares that wake you up, make your hair stand on end, and pray to God, even if you had doubts about his existence in the daytime. When you're in that state of fear, it does not matter how many times you say it's just a dream or call on the name of Jesus because you know you'll have to sleep again and you can't control whether or not you're in that nightmare. These nightmares are the start of a dream journey that would lead me to pursue my PhD research into anomalous encounters in dreams like the ones people report associated with sleep paralysis, such as shadow people, incubus, succubus, space aliens, and the wild menagerie of nocturnal monsters. Hindsight, as they say, is 2020, and it took me until 2020 to get a good view of my own dream journey. Have you ever had a dream so vivid that you couldn't tell if you were asleep or awake? Have you ever woken up caught in the mysterious boundary between dreaming and reality, paralyzed yet sensing the presence of an otherworldly entity? Or perhaps you've been taken by a strange light in the sky, or just slipped out of reality itself like me, only to be guided back by beings beyond human comprehension. For nearly a century, thousands of people have reported extraordinary encounters, UFOs, UAPs, extraterrestrials, and even non-human intelligences. Many of these experiences share one thing in common, a connection to dreams or dreamlike states. What can lucid dreaming reveal about these encounters? What insights might it hold for understanding UAPs, NHIs, and the mysteries they represent? Welcome to the D-SETI podcast, where we explore the intersection of lucid dreaming and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. I'm your host, Daniel Rekshan, a lifelong experiencer and dedicated researcher of profound dreams, strange omens, and mystical encounters. Together, we'll dive into the unknown, journeying deep into the mysteries of lucid dreams and extraordinary encounters. If I'm going to teach you about extraordinary dreams, then you need to know a little bit about my extraordinary dreams in order for you to believe me when I talk about some of the aspects of dreaming. Now, I believe that dreams are powerful experiences that have been understood as spiritual journeys, domains of revelation, and sources of shamanic power. I believe that dreaming is powerful whether or not objective science and mainstream culture acknowledges the reality of dreams. Further, I believe that anyone teaching or working with dreams or researching dreams should disclose their own dream practices and stories at some level. The practice of working with your own dreams while working with other people's dreams in research or dream work aligns with the ethical guidelines put forward by the International Association of the Study of Dreams, which suggests that anyone teaching dream work should work with their own dreams. Also, integral studies, which forms the basis of my graduate education, requires that researchers integrate both first and third person perspectives by engaging in personal practices related to the topics. Stay with me to the end and you'll discover how far some dream researchers have gone to understand dreaming. It's wild. This episode is all about my lucid dream origin story. We're going to go back through time to the 2000s and into the 1990s. Remember the movie The Waking Life that told the story of a boy exploring the world of lucid dreaming? It was my first encounter with the idea of lucid dreaming, and it blew my mind. Anyone else had an old hippie recommend Carlos Castaneda to them? That was one of my first introductions to the true anthropology of dreaming, let's say. What about smoking concentrated salvia divinorum that you bought from a corner gas station and realize that life is but a dream? Rewinding back further through time brings up images of angels and demons for me with the fear of hell. I don't like talking about those times, or the times that I thought alien abduction was real and could explain my extraordinary dreams, thanks to the X-Files and all those spooky TV shows. Over the course of this season, I'll tell you my story. Each episode in this season presents a topic about lucid dreaming, along with a reading from my illustrated dream book, Liber Visionorum Xenomanticarium. I made the book as a lucid dream practice to prove to myself and the world that I practice what I preach. I did the practices of lucid dreaming that I put into Dreamwell and recorded what came up. Additionally, in each episode, I will quote from dream research literature. Each episode topic will be one of 4 themes. Today, the theme is my story. In episode 3, I introduce the theme of statistical analysis of dream reports. In episode 2, I introduced the method of lucid dreaming. In episode 1, I discussed the science of lucid dreaming. So there are 4 themes: my story, statistical analysis of dream reports, lucid dreaming methods, and the science of lucid dreaming. Stay with me throughout this entire season and you'll learn all about lucid dreaming, how it relates to extraterrestrial or UFO contact, and what is real about extraordinary, powerful, psionic, or shamanic dreaming. So now it's time for a reading from my book, Liber Visionorum Xenomanticarium. This is my illustrated dream book. Every morning I would record my dream and then do an illustrated watercolor on the page that I recorded it, and then fill that in with pen and ink. And here is the reading. Once again, I am in the boundary of sleep, dreams, and waking. There is no memory, only the mystery of the UFO, unrecognized as such until waking, when it reveals itself to be the one thing that does not change, going through the portal of waking. And now for the main topic. Lucid control misses the point of lucid dreaming. I know that's a controversial statement. After all, most of you are here because you're interested in lucid dreaming and believe that control of your dreams can provide insight or at least interesting experiences. Discover what the point of having lucid control in your dreams may be in the first place. Stay with me throughout my entire journey, and I will help you not miss the point of lucid dreaming by focusing on lucid control. There's so many other things to focus on, and this podcast is all about those interesting things. In order for me to teach you about lucid dreaming, I need to tell you my story about lucid dreaming. I know it's sometimes boring to listen to another person ramble on about their dreams, so I will try to keep it to the point. This video is all about my story, so if you want to learn about how to lucid dream, the statistics of lucid dream, check out the earlier episodes. Brace yourself. My story is a little strange. It involves evangelical Christianity, sleep paralysis, out-of-body experiences, lucid dreaming, space aliens, or at least the true dreams and false memories of them, ancient gods, aliens, and intruders. The story I'm about to tell you is a journey through the borderlands of dreaming and waking, which some might call fantasy or reality, but we'll just call different phases of consciousness. After all, the dream is real because you're experiencing it, even though it's not physical in the same way that your bedroom is made of matter. 1994 puts hypnosis center stage with the memory wars controversy, the satanic panic, and UFO abduction syndrome fears. Before I get to my personal dream journey, I need to set the stage for you. The year is 1994. I'm 10 years old, and I've been plagued by vivid, strange, and recurrent nightmares. They're the kind of nightmares that wake you up, make your hair stand on end, and pray to God even if you had doubts about his existence in the daytime. When you're in that state of fear, it does not matter how many times you say it's just a dream or call on the name of Jesus, because you know you'll have to sleep again and you can't control whether or not you're in that nightmare. These nightmares are the start of a dream journey that would lead me to pursue my PhD research into anomalous encounters in dreams like the ones people report associated with sleep paralysis, such as shadow people, incubus, succubus, space aliens, and the wild menagerie of nocturnal monsters. Hindsight, as they say, is 20/20, and it took me until 2020 to get a good view of my own dream journey. The scientific discovery of lucid dreaming may explain alien abduction. We'll come back to the year 1994, but we need to go back a few years before I was born to 1975, when lucid dreaming was experimentally proven. Many people credit Stephen LaBerge for the discovery of lucid dreaming in 1978, but Keith Hearn and Alan Worsley conducted the first successful experiment in 1975. Their work was published in Hearn's 1978 dissertation at the University of Hull in the UK, which was the same year that LaBerge published his dissertation at Stanford University. We quoted from Worsley in episode 1. Let me read you a passage from Worsley that will contextualize my entire journey from strange dreams to my study of strange dream characters that people sometimes report as real or space aliens or other things like that. Here's the quote. I am not given to superstition or believing in unnecessary entities, but perhaps the term dream is a little too bland to do justice to the ultra realism of these experiences. Here, Worsley is describing very common sleep paralysis and hypnagogic hallucinations that involve dream characters like shadow people, demons, or aliens who seem to paralyze your body to have their way with you. These experiences feel real, often involving components like out-of-body experiences, visual hallucinations, or violent body sensations that I have confused for an earthquake and electrocution. Lucid dreaming is wild because it risks hypnagogic hallucination and sleep paralysis. Hypnagogic hallucinations are wild. Seriously, that stands for wake-induced lucid dream. The wake-induced lucid dream technique involves consciously going through the phase where all these hallucinations feel ultra-real. You too can learn wild lucid dream techniques to have all sorts of sleep and dream phenomena. Check out the earlier episodes about lucid dreaming for more information, or download the Dreamwell app where I teach about all the different methods of lucid dreaming. In the next story, we'll learn just how Worsley reacted to his ultra-real hallucinations and what that means for your lucid dream journey. All I wanted to do here was set the stage and to create a sort of context for the cultural exploration of lucid dreaming as set within a historic context. Now, I think that's really important. So in this episode, I share the fact that I'm from the 1980s, grew up in the 90s, and I was terrified of angels and demons, space aliens, though because our culture was moving through a series of biases against dreams. We didn't know if they were real, how they were real, if they were angels or something like that. So I just wanted to set the stage and let everyone who's listening to understand that I have gone through this journey of fear and confusion associated with sleep paralysis, out-of-body experiences, and some of the other exotic sleep and dream phenomena. I was confused for decades, and I came to a state of clarity, which is the journey that I'll speak about in these episodes within the theme of my own story. So now it's time to get back into the dream interpretation from my dream book. I'll just read this dream I dreamt last summer again. Here is the dream. Once again, I'm in the boundary of sleep, dreams, and waking. There is no memory, only the mystery of the UFO, unrecognized as such until waking, when it reveals itself to be the one thing that does not change going through the portal of waking. So here on this page, the art behind the text is very abstract. The art kind of reminds me of a sunrise or sunset sky. There's a little bit of indication of landscape at the bottom, but not much. In the bottom third of the image, there is a circle, and it looks like the top of a flying saucer. Looking down on the flying saucer, it looks like what you might imagine the flying saucer from the earlier episodes to be. There are glyphs around it, so it's ornamented with a sort of hieroglyphic writing, and there are red and blue lights kind of emanating out of it. The only other visual imagery is in the UFO. I wrote the O to be the shape of an alien head. So this is what we're talking about, the mystery of the UFO. This dream is part of the early phase of my dreams in this book. I ended up having strong lucid dreams, but I also ended up having strong experiences in hypnagogia and sometimes trying to figure out what actually happened. So once again, I'm in the boundary of sleep, dreams, and waking. This is a definite state. We need to learn to work with this state because this is a state in which the awareness of dreaming comes, the awareness of the journey, and sometimes it feels not like remembering, but like receiving, and it feels like you might remember everything forever, but not. This is the state where you get to choose to think about your dreaming experience and to bring that forward into the waking world. So I'm already there. I've been there throughout this book experience, throughout my lucid dreaming journey, and I don't have a memory of the dream except the mystery of the UFO, which to me was present in the space. And as I explored that mystery of the UFO present in this space, I started to understand that this was a structure of consciousness that stayed the same through sleeping, dreaming, and waking. So I encountered this awareness of some structure of consciousness that stayed the same through my sleeping, dreaming, and waking experience. And it's revealed itself to me in that state. And it revealed itself as a kind of a UFO intuition. One of the important motivations I have for doing this work is to maintain a state of lucid awareness through the various sleep cycles, through the various sleep phases, through sleeping, dreaming, and waking. If I can do that, I feel as if I will have accomplished a spiritual mission, a goal. This goal was given to me in my book, The Book of Galactic Light. Now, that's a complicated work. It is a work of kind of psychic trance perception, and I recorded the results of a psychic experiment that I ran for 30 days, and I had sort of waking visions that I recorded. I had interactions with angels and extraterrestrial entities, or at least the appearance of them in my psychic space. And so I recorded what they had to say, and they really want me to learn the skill of lucid awareness and be able to hold it from waking to sleeping and dreaming and back again. Now, this is a common goal of dream practices like Tibetan dream yoga and things like that. And so this dream was referencing that, and it was telling me that the mystery of the UFO is one of the vehicles I will use to go through that with lucid awareness. Like there's skill in navigating this space, and the skill for me involves using this ever-present kind of eternal structure of consciousness that might manifest as the mystery of the UFO, but is present throughout these various phases. It's a structure. It felt like a structure to me. And so that's my dream interpretation. Once again, I'm in the boundary of sleep, dreams, and waking. There is no memory, only the mystery of the UFO, unrecognized as such until waking, when it reveals itself to be the one thing that does not change, going through the portal of waking. My story obviously continues on past the 90s and early aughts, and I want to share that story with you as the podcast progresses. About every 4 episodes, I'll return back to my lucid dream origin story and share with you a little bit more so that we can build the context together and you can go with me on a journey from not understanding and being very confused about these things to thinking that the UFO abduction syndrome might have caused my dreams, to understanding that perhaps the UAP disclosure narrative would give me insight about these dreams, to finally discovering what the true cause of these dreams were, and that's me. me as a dreamer, me as an agent of consciousness, me as the world dreaming itself. And this whole journey is a strange journey to talk about, and that's why we're taking time. If you're inspired by my journey, I would just invite you to start your own journey by recording your dreams in a dream journal. That's the best thing you can do. Start by putting a journal by your bed or even downloading my app, Dreamwell. One of my favorite dream research papers is called What Can We Learn from Shamans Dreaming by Laughlin and Rock. It is one of the core articles that form the foundation of my approach to dreams because it summarizes cross-cultural studies of shamanic dreaming cultures. It provides language to describe how some cultures understand dreams to be real, unlike Western biases. For example, it says Western mainstream culture is monophasic, meaning it honors only one phase of consciousness, the waking phase. Well, it says that these other shamanic dreaming cultures are polyphasic, meaning they honor reality in multiple phases of consciousness, like waking, trance, sleeping, or dreaming. One of the core D-SETI hypotheses is that missing time associated with the UFO abduction and regression hypnosis to retrieve those memories are both misidentified shamanic dream phenomena, which is why I turned to their paper. We're not going to read from this paper, we're going to read from one of its authors, Laughlin. He went to extraordinary lengths to study dreaming. In his quest to understand dreaming, he practiced Tibetan dream yoga, which is an advanced meditative practice that is too much to get into right now. In the course of his explorations, he sought to increase the time in which he was aware within different sleep phases, like hypnagogia, between waking and sleeping. In this quote from his paper, Communing with the Gods, Laughlin described hypnagogia. I was able to remain in the hypnagogic hallucinogenic state for approximately 30 minutes and experience intense kaleidoscopic imagery, which began as a kind of gorgeous two-dimensional slideshow, but then deepened into dynamic four-dimensional experiences. The rather two-dimensional mandalas I first encountered in the hypnagogic became dynamic tunnels down which I would travel, and that led to various events and landscapes. Laughlin then describes a revelation that inspired him to build a sleeping box to keep his body straight up so that he could extend his dream adventures. At some point, I believe it was when I turned 41, I concluded I had to up the ante somewhat and stop trying to stay awake while sleeping in the prone position. I finally decided to rig things up so that it was impossible for me to lie down during the night. I built a box of plywood with a bottom and four sides, approximately 4 feet square and higher than my shoulders when sitting in half lotus. I lined the bottom and the sides of the box with foam sheets thick enough that it made the inside rather roundish, soft, and snug. He goes on to technically describe the box, then he writes, "Thus began a rather crazy time in my life, the most intense dream work I have ever undertaken. I slept sitting up for months, and though I was never able to remain conscious throughout the night, I spent much of my sleep in lucid dreaming, wafting in and out of waking and dream states, and recording the experiences on paper as I could. The experiences I had during and before using the sleeping box were not always pleasant ones, far from it, in fact. Many were dark and disturbing, and some downright frightening." Laughlin goes on to describe encounters with powerful unconscious forces, which is a reason why dream workers often warn people that dream work can be triggering. Anyways, he continues, "Many of the characters and objects I encountered during these years of intense dreaming were archetypal images. One begins to recognize human images as being like people one has known. When they first present, archetypal human forms may take the appearance of radiant beings, whether positive, god or goddess, or negative, demonic. They are beings of light and have no substance, perfect in every way, no flaws, no blemishes, asymmetries, pores, etc. Archetypal radiant beings were more complete, more beautiful or ugly, and far more numinous than anything in the waking real world could ever be. Moreover, when they first present, they may be accompanied by a sense of numinosity, power, and feeling of ecstatic bliss. These too dissipate as the radiant being develops over time and takes its place in the library of internally shared symbols. And finally, Laughlin writes, I do not recall ever having a precognitive dream or co-dreaming with anyone. Out-of-body experiences, however, were commonplace in dreams during the sleeping box period. I could look down at my physical self in the box and consciously leave my body to wander about and then return to it, just as described above for dreamers in some traditional societies. So that was the reading from Laughlin from his article Communing with the Gods, where he described some of the extraordinary lengths he went to study lucid dreaming. The quote described how he felt convinced that he needed to extend his awareness in the space between waking and dreaming, which is called the hypnagogic. So he built a plywood box to hold his body up in a meditation posture while he fell asleep. Then he described his experiences of having long lucid dreams, but ending up wafting back into sleep consciousness and then back into lucidity. And he described a series of encounters with archetypal human imagery. That's what he called it, archetypal human forms. So these are sort of archetypes from somewhere. It has a numinosity to it for him that appeared like gods or goddesses or demons to him that he then worked with to integrate into his own internal lexicon of whatever these things are. And so that whole journey to me may really shed some light on the mysteries of the UFO, what these archetypal images might be, right? We can remember back to Carl Jung, who talked about the UFO as a mandala, as a sort of psychoid expression, as a sort of synchronicity. And I'm still trying to understand all of the things Carl Jung had to say, but this sort of feels like it's in line with that. Feels like that Laughlin is interpreting these encounters with archetypes as kind of lucid dream phenomena that express as angels or demons with numinosity and fear, but he understands them to be an ongoing relationship with deep aspects of perhaps the universal mind. So that's really interesting. I look to see how people practice dreams themselves in order to understand how I should relate to their dream insights or the dream work they are offering. This is one of the reasons why I'm sharing my lucid dream book, because when I evaluate statements about hypnagogia or truth about dreaming, I have to look to the speaker's experience of dreams, right? I don't want to believe someone about their understanding of dreams if they actually haven't gone through the work of understanding dreams. Now with Laughlin, I understand he has gone through the work. He's gone through the work. He built a box. He went through intense dream work. He's tried multiple systems of dreaming. He's written about it in ways that are citable, that have reference. And so I'm presenting you my understanding of lucid dreaming, and I want you to understand that I've gone through the work of trying to understand this and really exploring dreams in my own life. So thank you for being with me on this journey, and I hope it inspires you to go on your journey of discovery with dreams. I would love it if someone in several months came back to me and said, you know what, I built a sleeping box just because of your reading of Laughlin on your podcast, and I had the most transformative experiences, and this is what it is. I'd love that to happen. So if this podcast is inspiring you to do any dream work, and you do that dream work and it's insightful or impactful or meaningful to you, I'd love if you came back and commented or sent me a message at daniel@dseti.org. So this commitment to an integral practice of dream work, of actually doing dream work if you're interested in dreaming, we can apply to the UFO abduction or UFO UAP disclosure narratives or anything like that, right? if you want to understand contact phenomena, then you have to be willing to experience contact phenomena in some way, shape, or form. I've gone through a whole journey with what people have called CE5. That's a close encounter of the fifth kind, understood to be human-initiated contact experiences with extraterrestrials or non-human intelligences. There's this notion, right, that you could psionically summon UFOs or alien creatures to have an interaction with you, right? And you can even have that motivation, go through that kind of ritual of summoning and have experiences of extraterrestrial beings. I know that for a fact, and I know people report things like that. Oftentimes these experiences involve looking up at the sky, and then you go, wow, look, there's a light in the sky and it moved, and then you feel really excited and you go to bed and you have a powerful dream of an extraterrestrial or some sort of experience that you can't really place within waking, and you go, this feels very real, and I don't know how to make sense of it outside of the context of space alien abduction or something like that. I wish our culture would talk about these deeply numinous encounters with archetypal human figures and things like that a little bit more, so that we could go, okay, if you're going to bed with this motivation after seeing what you believe is alien spacecraft, right, it makes a lot of sense. Now, this would sound very skeptical if I was someone else bringing this argument forward to the experiencer community. I'm not skeptical about it. I'm saying, actually, we are making contact. We are making contact with a different order of reality that can communicate to us mathematical, technical, physical insights about our world that are more than what I could personally know. That's the claim that or the hypothesis I'm willing to dedicate my experience to working with. Now, do I have objective evidence for that? Not so much. I can point to many, many anecdotes and things like that in terms of dream incubation and the history of dreaming. And so it's grounded in literature, but it's kind of resists a kind of materialist investigation. And that is one of the reasons why I say integral studies is where this investigation needs to happen, because dreams are obviously not just objective or physical phenomena. Anyways, I'm sharing all of this to apply this integral dreaming practice, the dreaming as a dream researcher, to the experience of contact or UFO abductions or UAP disclosure. Is if you're interested in that, I say you've got to get some skin in the game, and you have to be willing to explore this yourself in some way, shape, or form. I did that. I had powerful experiences that confused me for probably years right now at this point, but I'm gaining clarity on them through this work, and I'm sharing that clarity with you. In the next episode, we are going to talk about lucid dream prevalence rates. So we're going to look to dream research to see how often people have lucid dreams, how often you could have lucid dreams, what's the best method of lucid dreaming, that sort of thing. So this will ground you in the science of lucid dreaming. Thank you for being with me on this journey, this D-SETI voyage, right? D-SETI stands for the Dream Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or the Dream Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, depending on whether or not you believe we found it. You can find D-SETI at www.dseti.org to connect with me, to download my books, to connect with this podcast, or to schedule a consultation with me. I do personal dream work practice. I offer missing time regression hypnosis in the style of shamanic dream work. That's a little bit of a conceptual journey to go on, and I'm happy to go on that with you. I say regression hypnosis is a pseudoscience because it's misidentified shamanic dream work. But I'm willing to go on that journey and do something like missing time regression hypnosis in order to facilitate this shamanic dreamwork journey for you. And I think that's really beautiful work, and I would invite anyone who's interested in doing that work to just simply explore it with me. You can set up a no obligation consultation with me through my website, www.dseti.org. I'll talk about how to engage. You can schedule a session with me then after that, or join my dream group. All of my work through D-SETI.org is offered through sliding scale donation. That means I'll tell you what the market rate donation expectation is, but you don't have to pay until after this session, and you write in what you want to pay. And so we don't really talk about or negotiate it, but it is a sliding scale donation, so there should be really no barrier to entry if you are called to work with me. Likewise, you can check out my work and my lucid dream teachings at dreamwellbewell.com. Dreamwell is a mobile app dedicated to well-being through sleep, dream, and mindfulness practices. It's focused on lucid dreaming. So I have 7 lucid dreaming courses there that are really simple to take. You do about 1 to 2 minutes a day of listening to audio. You pay attention to a few things throughout the day, and then you record your dreams. And that's a really beautiful journey. And that journey is what caused me to write the Liber Visionorum Xenomanticarium book. That journey of building those lucid dream courses are what inspired this podcast. So if you want to learn lucid dreaming and you believe that I am a lucid dreamer and I understand something about lucid dreaming that's inspiring to you, then I would invite you to check out Dreamwell. You can go to Dreamwell on the Play or App Store or www.dreamwellbewell.com. Once again, thank you for being here with this D-SETI voyage. I hope to inspire a generation of people excited to go to sleep, to see where they go and what they encounter, who feel empowered by the strange feelings of hypnagogia or the different aspects of REM sleep or lucid dreaming. I don't want anyone to go to sleep scared that these things will abduct them or that they're powerless victims of alien abduction and they shouldn't explore this natural yet powerful world of shamanic dreaming. I think that it is one of the greatest crimes in the world that people could go to sleep scared of their own powerful dreams because someone wanted to make a quick dollar on selling alien abduction stories in the 1990s and is not responsible enough to clean up their mess. I think that's one of the greatest crimes in the world. And I think it is a crime that people's dreams are being used to fuel political agendas where only a few people profit, but the rest of these people testifying to realities beyond their comprehension are actually being exploited by a movement that claims to bring them truth. I think that's awful. And there's no way to bring anyone out of that state of mind except through a personal journey. I went through a personal journey through my integral practice of dreaming. And I'm talking about lucid dream practices and inviting people to go on those journeys so that they can go up and out of the deceptions and the victimization kind of narrative that's associated with UAP disclosure nowadays or alien abduction in the 1990s. So if you're one of those people who are obsessed with the UAP disclosure narrative like I have been, I would just challenge you to look to the people who are prominent in that field and to evaluate whether or not they've studied hypnagogia or sleep paralysis, whether or not they've gone through these experiences of confusion and feeling victimized by abductors in these sleep paralysis states, whether or not you believe they can ascertain if an experience came from a out-of-body experience or if it was a false memory or if it was a true memory recovered through hypnosis. Look to see all those people talking about UAP disclosure. I'm talking about the Ross Coulthars, the Gary Nolans, the Robert Bigelows, the John E. Macks of the UAP disclosure movement, and evaluate whether or not they've gone on a personal journey to explore these ultra real realms of dreaming. And if they have, that's great. We can now understand that when they say that the abduction experience is real and not a dream, we can trust them. But if you can go through their educational history, their articles they've written, and not find a single quote to relevant dream science, not find a single quote that would indicate these people have even the basic awareness that people experience something like hypnagogic hallucinations and understand what those actually are. If you can't find a quote like that from these people, then they're lying to you and they're exploiting you and they're using your belief and confusion to fuel a narrative that has a political agenda that they're making profit from, that you're not experiencing. That's what's happening. They're lying to you because they're claiming to be experts in a domain they have no experience of. And I think that's negligent. I think that's harmful. And I think that needs to be addressed. And that's what I'm doing here on this podcast. And that's why I'm inviting you, whoever is interested in UAP disclosure and lucid dreaming, to go on a practice yourself, to explore this world of lucid dreaming, the ultra real realms of hypnagogia, so that you know exactly how to identify these experiences, what they feel like for you, and how to bring someone else up and through that journey of confusion that may keep them in a state of victimization forever unless someone guides them through and lets them know that there is a there on the other side of alien abduction or UFO narratives, that there is something real happening and that there is a long precedent of that thing happening. That thing is real connections with sources of wisdom, healing, transformation, meaning, right? These beings that feel ultra real because they are ultra real. That's what is at stake here at this D-SETI journey. And I would rather have a generation of dreamers reach out to this archetypal realm for help, assistance, and innovation than fear it because someone wanted to make a quick buck selling abduction, human encounters with aliens. Yes, I'm talking about John Mack. Or establish a foundation like the Soul Foundation that talks about UAPs but doesn't actually talk about the actual experience of contact because they reject dreams and dream research out of hand because of materialist biases. I want you to go through these experiences and go out to the other side and stand out there in the world and just let your understanding about these experiences radiate so that whenever someone jumps up out of the UAP disclosure rabbit hole, you can say, hey, yeah, these things are real. You weren't a fool for believing those liars. You weren't a fool for going in that circus tent because there was something real there and nobody else is talking about it. But guess what? Those clowns at the UFO disclosure circus don't know what they're talking about. They're just a step further along the path. You can go out through this door. They're not in control of the narrative. There's no disclosure you're waiting for to happen. You are the disclosure. You're the program. You're the psionic assets. You're whatever you're hoping to find through whatever Gary Nolan is talking about, through whatever the whistleblowers are talking about, through whatever congressional hearings you're trying to figure out. If you're looking for a truth about entity encounters, about the UFO abduction syndrome, you are that truth. Now, this isn't to say that there aren't covert military operations, that there aren't traumatic encounters that aren't explained. I'm not explaining those. I'm talking about the UFO abduction syndrome. I'm talking about a pattern of dreamlike interactions with what seemed like space aliens. That's what I'm talking about. And I say those are actually dream phenomena. And we need to study them like dream phenomena because that's powerful, that's innovating, that leads to healing, meaning, creativity. Once again, thank you for being with me on this journey. I will see you in the next episode. And in the meantime, may you have powerful dreams that are perfect for you to teach you just the exact thing you need. And may you remember it when you wake up. And let these dreams guide you into truth and understanding about the UFO abduction syndrome, and UFO disclosure. May they illuminate the world around you.